I think I know exactly what you're thinking right now. It's something like branding and marketing just plain sucks.
Yeah, that's a common one.
Right. I mean, there's just too much to do. The technology is always changing. Agencies are so expensive. And half the time, the strategy just feels like a mess of mixed messages.
Absolutely.
So if you've ever, poured your budget into marketing only to feel completely overwhelmed or confused or just burned out by the results, well, you're in the right place today.
For sure. We've done a really deep dive into a collection of strategic sources, things like agency philosophies, workbooks, internal presentations that really aim to cut through all that noise.
And find a clear framework.
Exactly. Our mission today isn't just to, complain about those frustrations. It's to provide the antidote. We're synthesizing all these documents to move past the chaos
Right.
and build a really clear foundational framework for brand success.
Okay, so let's unpack this right away because I think we need to clear the air on the most fundamental point, the one that trips everyone up.
What's that?
What is the real difference between a brand and marketing? People use them interchangeably all the time.
They do, and that confusion is it's often the first and most costly mistake that companies make. The sources we looked at are definitive on this.
Okay.
Your brand is not your logo. The logo is just an icon. It's a tiny little reminder.
So Apple isn't just a piece of fruit.
Exactly. If the logo was the whole brand, Starbucks would just be a mermaid. Your brand is the deep emotional relationship you have with your customer.
So it's the sum total of every single experience, the reputation, the quality you perceive, the consistency.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's built on those core pillars:
Mhm.
reputation, consistency, the values you actually live by, your unique voice, and importantly, your attitude toward the customer.
I see.
Branding is all about establishing that relationship. It's designed to evoke an emotion, need, desire, worth, respect in the customer's mind. It's the long-term promise.
And marketing then is putting that promise into motion.
Precisely. Marketing is the deliberate action. It's the campaign, the ad, the targeted email. It's the call to action that guides the client to take the next step,
So one evokes emotion.
and the other guides action. That distinction is the critical nugget. We have to get that right before we can even move on.
So why do so many companies skip that deep relationship work? Everyone rushes to get the shiny logo first, and then they wonder why it doesn't move the needle or bring in the right kind of client.
Well, they want instant establishment, right?
Right,
But they're mistaking visibility for actual sustainable value.
right.
The foundational starting point, according to these guides, is defining your core purpose, your why you do what you do. And that's based on your vision and what the sources call the HEART principle.
HEART. Okay, that sounds like a deeply cultural framework. Can you walk us through it? And is this something management just, signs off on? Or does it have to be lived every day?
Well, it has to be integrated daily, top to bottom. Otherwise, it's meaningless. It's an action plan that governs interactions, not just some words in your marketing copy.
Okay, so what does it stand for?
So H is for honoring your clients. Their respect is paramount. E is for being elastics, able to stretch and pivot when things change, but without breaking your core promise.
That's interesting.
A is having the right attitude. R is taking responsibility when things go wrong. And T is establishing clear tactics that are planned long before you need them. Your whole brand is supposed to just glow with these values.
That elasticity part is really fascinating. It suggests that a rigid brand, one that can't adapt, is actually a fragile brand.
That's spot on. And elasticity isn't just about being reactive. It's about being flexible inside your defined structure.
Yeah.
The market changes, right? Your approach has to adapt. But those core internal values, they have to remain absolutely stable.
Okay, let's talk about that critical warning you mentioned, the logo rush. The sources use some pretty strong language here.
They really do. They explicitly warn that doing the logo before you fully understand the prospects' business pains, their goals, and your own internal values is just.
Yeah.
It's fundamentally wrong.
I think I know the quote you're talking about.
Yeah, one of the documents describes this rush in very blunt terms because essentially, if you don't understand the client, you cannot possibly attract them. You have no compass.
That makes perfect sense. If you haven't done the heavy lifting of defining your purpose and deeply understanding client pains, the logo is just meaningless fluff. It's an empty promise you can't deliver on.
Exactly. The whole purpose of this intense foundational work is critical. The brand needs to align with the company's authentic values and be built to sustain long-term business goals, not just create a pretty picture for a quick launch.
It's like building a house.
It is. You wouldn't paint the exterior, the logo, before you poured the foundation and framed the structure, which are your values and purpose. The brand has to be cultural and internal before it can ever be external and effective.
Okay, so it sounds like we've really established the internal why through HERT. If we've done that hard work, the next logical step is to point that focus outward. Let's talk about the strategy of defining who you're talking to and what you say to them.
Right. Step one here is defining the client you can best serve. This is a directed marketing approach. It means detailing who the work is for based on shared values, shared attitude, and just a mutual enjoyment of the work.
You want clients who respect your process.
Yes, the ones of whom you can provide the most powerful solutions. Now, the most provocative part of this is the explicit instruction they give.
Which is?
Be willing to ignore everyone else in your marketing.
Wait, hold on. That sounds completely counterintuitive for any business that's trying to grow. How do the sources justify telling people to actively turn away potential business?
Well, it's a focus strategy, not a scarcity strategy. If you try to market to everyone, your message becomes diluted and weak. You just waste your resources.
So you're background noise.
You're just background noise. By explicitly ignoring the clients you don't serve best, the ones who drain your resources or don't share your values, you free up all that budget and energy to create a laser-focused, resonant message for the tribe you do want.
So you become essential to a few rather than invisible to the masses.
That's it. Clarity leads to resonance, which leads to better, more profitable business.
Okay, so let's get into the message itself. We have to talk about this crucial idea, the YIMM flip. What's in it for me?
This is absolutely vital. Most businesses, they instinctively write their content, websites, emails, whatever, by starting with themselves.
Right. We were founded in.
Yes. Info about the company, then the offer, then maybe they'll mention the customer's problem, and finally the goal. They talk about their history and features first.
And the customer has already checked out by then. They're gone.
Precisely. The strategic advice is to flip that entire structure on its head. Appeal immediately to the customer's self-interest. You have to lead with their desired outcome, their highest goal.
So the customer-centric structure is?
Goal, problem, offer, info. You start with the customer's potential success and the hurdles that are blocking them right now.
Okay, let's make that real. Say a company sells a high-end financial coaching service to save busy executives time. What does the flip look like?
The standard old-school way would be something like, our firm, established in 2010, uses a proprietary 7-step process to optimize portfolios.
Yeah.
They've already buried the lead.
Total snooze fest.
Okay.
And the flip structure, leading with the goal.
It leads right with the desired state. Gain back 20 hours a month and ensure a clear path to early retirement.
Oh, that's good.
Right. Then the problem. Are you losing valuable time and money due to confusing tax laws? And then you get to the offer and the info. You prioritize their success, the sizzle, before you explain the details, the steak.
That sizzle before the steak line is the perfect way to remember it. And this whole approach, it leads right into the story brand framework, which the sources highlight.
Yeah, it's all about making the client the hero of the story. Your messaging should establish the customer as a character who has a problem. Then they meet the guide, that's your company, who gives them a clear plan and leads them to success.
So the company isn't the hero.
Never. The guide is the trusted expert, the source of solutions. The customer is always the protagonist of their own success story.
Now, a lot of businesses listening probably feel like, yes, I should do all this, but they're also completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of work and the cost of finding reliable help.
For sure.
So let's look at the NLC model that's in our sources as a kind of case study. It's a structure designed to solve that common frustration with expensive, unreliable agencies.
That's right. The NLC model positions itself as the dependable, efficient partner. They're basically presented as the antidote to the complaint that agencies lack follow-through or hold your assets hostage.
What's so fascinating is how their core differentiators are so strategic. Let's start with their focus on senior expertise. They say the team is all senior-level designers, 10 to 30-plus years of experience each. What does that deep experience actually mean for a client?
It really just means efficiency and risk reduction. The sources suggest that having senior experts cuts down massively on revision cycles.
And that's where the costs spiral.
That's where they spiral out of control. Senior staff should be able to deliver the right solution faster and more efficiently across a huge range of services, They basically eliminate the rookie tax.
So it's not just boasting, it's a structural promise of fewer billable hours spent fixing mistakes, which means a better return on investment.
Exactly. And another truly critical differentiator, and this addresses a massive client pain point, is their transparency around ownership.
Ah, yes.
The source material explicitly says that all intellectual property rights and the raw build files are released to the client upon payment and completion. They put it right in a private Dropbox for you.
That is a huge trust factor. We all hear those horror stories about agencies holding brand identities hostage, forcing you to come back to them for every tiny update. This model just removes that friction.
It instantly positions them as a true partner, not some vendor creating their own little silos. And when you combine that with their promise of efficiency, the whole one vendor, one voice, one phone call, done. It streamlines everything for a client who's overwhelmed.
So no more mixed messages from juggling multiple providers.
Right. They seem hyper-focused on achieving what they call giddy client satisfaction. It's a personalized, boutique approach that prioritizes integrity, generosity, transparency.
And they promise all this at a fraction of the cost of West and East Coast agencies. Their entire model is built around turning those classic client pain points into their own competitive advantage.
Yeah. Their value proposition is crystal clear. Top-tier strategy and design from experienced people with total transparency on IP, all focused on the client's bottom line.
So the infrastructure and the strategy are defined. The final piece is execution. How does a business maintain this high standard and consistency across all platforms, digital, print, collateral, without their team going completely crazy?
The key is a big shift from reactive design, that constant firefighting to create content, to proactive execution, bulk content creation. The sources strongly recommend designing a lot at once.
Okay, so not piece by piece.
No. This means tackling the logo, the social headers, the website campaigns, and critically, writing blog content for the next 6 to 12 months, all at the same time.
Wow. Why is that so important strategically?
Well, first, it solidifies your message consistency and style immediately. That's the foundation of brand recognition. But more practically, it allows for seamless repurposing and huge efficiency gains. If your content is planned for a year, your social media can basically run on autopilot for months.
And that establishes credibility and authority over time.
Instantly. And it consistently grooms the prospect through education. This moves way beyond just getting ahead. This is about institutionalizing consistency.
And the sources give a really specific, actionable plan for this. Let's walk through that methodology for pre-creating a year's worth of messaging.
Yeah, it's a very detailed, very efficient system. The goal is to produce 12 substantial articles for the year, plus 12 shorter companion pieces, all from minimal initial research.
Okay, step 1. Decide on 6 broad topics of interest that align with your brand's HEART principles and your ideal client's problems.
Then, step 2. You find 4 external, authoritative articles about each of those topics. That gives you 24 pieces of research material. This isn't about copying. It's about synthesizing the existing conversation to see where your expertise fits.
So if I pick responsibility and integrity as one of my topics, how does that become content?
Great example. You'd find 4 articles about integrity in business, maybe one on ethical sourcing, one on transparent pricing, customer data security, corporate governance. Then you move to step 3.
Which is the outline.
You create one master article outline for the responsibility topic, pulling the best ideas and stats from your sources, but injecting your company's unique perspective and HEART values into it.
So that master article is the cornerstone piece. Then step 4.
You write that master article, then you write a second, shorter article on the same topic, but this one focuses on just one key point from the main piece. Something like 3 ways transparent pricing builds customer trust.
And you just repeat that process for all 6 topics.
You do. And by the end, you've got 6 master articles and 6 companion pieces. You've created 12 unique, high-value pieces of content for the whole year. Your brand's voice and expertise are just consistently out there.
And this whole focus on consistency, it's governed by a formal 5-step process for a brand refresh, making sure nothing gets missed. It puts everything in the right order.
Exactly. It ensures alignment from the inside out. It starts with brand analysis, where are we now? Then brand definition, what are our mission, values, ideal client? Followed by messaging strategy, how do we talk to them?
And then the design part.
Then and only then is number 4, brand identity design. The visuals, the logo, the style guide. And last is number 5, brand awareness and presence, which is deploying it all across print and digital. It's sequential, it's disciplined, and it's essential.
This deep dive has really shown that successful strategic branding, it isn't about chasing trends or just having a pretty logo.
Not at all.
It's a structured process. It's built first on a foundation of clearly defined internal values, that HERT principle, then on a razor-sharp, customer-centric strategy, all executed through proactive, high-volume content creation.
And if we connect this all back to the ultimate payoff, the goal is so much bigger than just next quarter's sales. The sources have this truly compelling insight about the ultimate value of a brand.
Which is?
Successful branding is the most valuable real estate in the world.
Wow.
Why? Because if your strategy is consistently and authentically implemented, you own a corner of someone's mind. You become the default answer to their specific problem.
That completely reframes the entire mission. You're not just selling a product, you're investing in securing cognitive real estate based on trust and quality and consistency.
It is. And it raises a really important question for you listening to this. What corner of your client's mind does your brand occupy right now? And more importantly, does that perception reflect your true purpose and the value defined by your HERT principles that you bring to the table?
And if not,
If not, it's time to stop chasing the logo and start defining the heart of your operation. That's the work worth doing. Ponder that.